Hello and welcome back to another live episode of 100 Yards of Football Sports Talk Radio. I'm your producer, Jeremiah Long, and joining me to talk about the Auburn Tigers versus the Ole Miss Rebels here live from Atlanta, Georgia, is our host, Mr. Logan Landers. How's it going, man?
Hey, what's going on, Jeremiah? Great matchup here in the SEC. The Auburn Tigers going to be with the Ole Miss Rebels. Should be a very good ball game. Both these teams have a good bit of momentum, and I think this is going to be a very good, high-scoring affair. I can't wait to talk about it.
Absolutely. Yeah, and for everybody watching, thank you so much for joining us. And if you're watching on YouTube, Twitch, or Facebook, you guys are in there. You're with us. We appreciate all of that. We appreciate your fandom, especially our Auburn Tigers and our Ole Miss Rebels fans. You guys join us every week to talk about football, and we could not be more overjoyed. And if you're watching us now, then thank you. But if you're listening to us on our podcast, thank you again. Without further ado, though, Mr. Landers, tell us, the Auburn Tigers and the Ole Miss Rebels, what do the fans have to look forward to this week?
It's going to be a good matchup, I think. Ole Miss is currently the number 10 ranked team in the country. Auburn, number 18. So both these teams pretty evenly matched, I would say. Currently, right now, Ole Miss has a 6-1 record. So they have their only loss being to, of course, the number 1 ranked team, Alabama. Number 2 ranked team. It's weird. I just have it programmed in me, Jeremiah. They've been so dominant for so long. It's like second nature. But so their only loss was to Alabama. Auburn, they are 5-2, but they have had a pretty good string of games as of late. So I think this is going to be a good matchup. But let's talk about Ole Miss first. We'll talk about the team who is ranked 10 in the country, 6-1 on the year. Like I said, their only loss being to Alabama. But other than that, they have looked dominant each and every game. We mentioned their game against Tennessee the other week. They beat them pretty easily. You know, I know it broke your heart a little bit with Coach Kiffin coming back, but it is what it is. We just got to move on and keep on chugging along. But Ole Miss has looked really, really good against LSU, who has had a tough year this year. Of course, Coach O is leaving the LSU program at the end of the season. They just haven't been able to get things right since their national championship back in 2019. And it looks like they're going to be trying to get things scrambled to get back and just start fresh and get some new recruits, get a new coach. And we'll see what LSU is going to be like in the next few years, because it looks like they might be going through a sort of a rebuild period at this time. But nonetheless, Ole Miss did pull out the win this past week, 31-17. Matt Corral has looked absolutely tremendous this entire football season. 18-23 on the day, 185 yards. 1 touchdown, no interceptions for him. So he's looked really well. He's thrown for almost 2,000 yards this year. Only 1 interception for his entire year so far. So he's looked really good. And the running backs have absolutely been lighting it up for Ole Miss. Snoop Connor, Jerrion Ealy, and of course Henry Parrish. They've just run the ball all over the place against LSU. As a team, Jeremiah, they carried the ball 50 times for 266 yards. So LSU's defense just could not stop the rushing attack of Ole Miss. Dontario Drummond helped out on the receiving corps. 8 catches for the young man, 93 yards for him. So they look great. The defense, they have looked good the entire season, pretty much. Mark Robinson, 12 tackles. Chance Campbell, 10. And they've looked really well. 5 sacks on the day for the Ole Miss Rebels and 7 tackles for losses. So that defense has looked really stout this entire season. Like I said, they've been putting a bruising on teams just throughout this entire college football season. They haven't given up too many points, so except for a game or two, they've looked really good this entire season. So I think that Ole Miss is coming into this game confident. They've got a big win. They beat LSU, a team they should have beat, and they did beat. They're on a 3-game win streak right now, and I think they have a lot of momentum on their side. But let's talk about the Auburn Tigers and what they can do and how they've been looking. So Auburn, they are currently the number 18th ranked team in the country, 5-2 on the year. The only losses being the Penn State earlier on the season, and of course to the UGA Bulldogs. So 2 teams who have had a really good season, so you can't knock them for that. But Auburn's looked really well. They beat Arkansas last week, 38-23. Arkansas, early on in the season, they were looking really well. They've kind of slipped off a little bit and fallen on the wayside. But Auburn is on the come up, though. And like I said, when you put up 38 points against the Arkansas Razorbacks, who have a very good defense, I think you're doing something right. Bo Nix, the one of the biggest mysteries in college football is that young man of how consistent is he? Can he do it week in and week out? He looked pretty good against the Arkansas Razorbacks last week, if I do say so myself. 21 of 26 on the day, 292 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. He's looked good the entire season, but you got to hope he can carry it over to this game and get this big win against Ole Miss. Hey, it's a big game for him. Can he step up? We will see. But who else helped him? Of course, Tank Bigsby, one of the best names in college football, especially if you're a running back. Come on. If you're a running back named Tank, you got to put up some good yards and put up some good work, and he did. 18 carries for 68 yards and a touchdown for him. Bo Nix ran the ball in for a touchdown with 42 yards rushing for him. So they are, he is kind of that dual threat quarterback also. Demetrius Robertson, 2 catches for 81 yards. But Shedrick Jackson, 5 catches for 61 yards. Very good day for that young man. And for the defense, like I said, they only gave up 23 points to the Razorbacks. Zacoby McClain, my goodness, have yourself a day. 15 tackles for the young man combined. So he looked absolutely dominant. They had 3 sacks as a team, 2 of those being by Colby Wooden. So they looked really dominant, 7 tackles for losses. So Auburn has looked really great these last few games. Ole Miss has also. So you've got 2 teams who have, they've lost to the big giants. They've lost to the really higher ups in terms of college football, but they're able to beat seemingly everyone else. So this is a very even game, I think. And this is a tough one. This could be a toss-up. I mean, I know that Ole Miss has the advantage in terms of the rankings right now, and, they have a slightly better record. But, man, I think in terms of this win, I think I am going to give it to Ole Miss, but it's going to be a close one. And by that, I think this is going to be maybe a field goal or a touchdown game, a very, very one possession might do you in type of ball game. So I will give Ole Miss the win in this one, but I think it is going to be close. I think Ole Miss, I'll go Ole Miss 28, keep it kind of a lower scoring game. Then maybe the offense might sputter a little against, the defense might step up a little bit more, because you don't want these games to be high scoring and 50-30 or nothing like that. I want this to be a close, drag them out football game the entire 4 quarters, struggles on both sides of the ball. So I think Ole Miss, I'll give them 28, and I'll go Auburn. I'll give Ole Miss 28, Auburn 21. Keep it a touchdown. I think a 4th quarter touchdown at the end by Matt Corral might put this game away for Ole Miss. But if you're the Auburn Tigers, nothing to hold your head down about. They've had a great season. And like I said, this one could be a toss-up. This is just my prediction. Auburn might get the win in this one. The scores might be reversed. But personally, I'm just feeling Ole Miss has a little bit better momentum. I think Coach Kiffin's looked tremendous this year. And I think they'll get the win in this one.
Press my button. Yeah. Okay. I definitely see that too. And everybody watching, tell us, what do you think? What will be the final score with the Auburn Tigers and the Ole Miss Rebels? Because, this is another one where Ole Miss they got to keep their momentum up. The Tigers have got to see what they can do to come home and, celebrate with their fandom. So everybody's going to come in guns blazing, trying to get the job done. I want to hear from our audience. What do you think the final score will be? Put it into the comments and let us know. And if you're watching us on YouTube, Twitch, or Facebook, thank you. But if you're listening to us on our podcast, then you're even a step further ahead. Because guess what? Our podcast is here for you every day. When you wake up, when you go to the office, when you're heading out to the office, when you're coming back in from work, we are going to be there with you all the time. We have over 300 episodes that are just waiting for you, including tons of evergreen episodes that you could watch anytime year-round. Then those are history specials and great interviews with amazing players. Plus, we have our team previews. We've got our college game day previews and just amazing breakdowns of individual players that are coming into the league and coming into college football. So please join us over on our podcast. just grab your Spotify app, grab your Apple podcasting app, or anywhere that you listen to podcasts, and just search for 100 Yards of Football, and we will be there for you time in and time again, because that's what we do here. We bring you the best in sports coverage. And please let us know in the comments if you want a team covered, if you have an idea for a show that you'd love to see us do, or if you just have a great player that you'd love to see interviewed or a coach you'd love to see us interview, just drop us a comment and let us know what you think. So for our entire team here, I am the producer, Jeremiah Long, and you've been listening to our host, Logan Landers, give the preview of Auburn versus Ole Miss in our college football preview. We'll be back a little later with another live episode.